past, you've probably heard about how you need to include more iron-rich foods in your diet. Maybe you've struggled with different issues such as fatigue. Maybe you've seen different markers on your blood work and your doctor suggested that you either get more iron via foods or you need to take an iron supplement. So I want to discuss in this video how iron deficiency really isn't a real thing and how we can avoid being overloaded by iron, because there's real consequences to this iron overload. And it really all goes back to how we need to keep our iron in motion. And just like with so many of the things I talk about, it never ceases to amaze me how amazing our body is at just staying alive, at health and wellness, if we will just give it what it needs. I'm constantly amazed by that. But let's dig into this topic because it's something that I have recently learned a lot about, probably in the last 6 to 8 months. And it's kind of amazing that I never knew this, because I too had always heard about iron. We need more. So many people are deficient, etc. So first off, really quick recap. I already did a previous YouTube video on how iron deficiency isn't a real thing. I'm going to link that below in the description of this video if you want to go back and watch that. It might really help give you some context for this conversation. But basically, we have a lot of iron that is available in our food sources currently. We don't need necessarily any more iron. And really, other than blood loss, our body doesn't have any way of getting rid of excess iron. And so that's why we really need to prioritize certain nutrition and lifestyle changes to help our iron be in motion, be in this iron recycling system that every person has. They have this iron recycling system, and we need it to work as well as it can to keep that iron working for us, to keep it at healthy levels. So just kind of a different way to look at this iron metabolism. So the absorption of iron happens in the digestive system, and the accumulation of iron will happen. It'll like sequester and kind of get stuck in different cells, in different organs like the liver, the spleen, and the bone marrow even, in order to hide from things like different pathogens that come along, because they can actually feed off of this extra iron. And so it kind of gets stuck in these tissues and in our organs, which can really, really weigh them down and obviously not allow them to do the job as best as they should be. Obviously, if our liver can't work the best that it needs to, other things are going to happen from that. And so really, this iron recycling system helps to mobilize our iron. And this is when iron works its magic, and our iron recycling system is taking iron from the tissue into our blood and carrying out many, many functions that it does have. And so really quick recap, like why this iron needs to stay in motion. So we all have this recycling system, and it helps our body to produce 24 milligrams of iron every 24 hours. Our bone marrow uses this iron to help make more red blood cells. And obviously, these red blood cells are very, very important to us. They live for about 120 days, and then they're broken down, and the process is repeated. And so it only takes 25 milligrams of iron to support this red blood cell production. And if we already have 24 milligrams of iron within that iron recycling system, you can see how we only need 1 extra milligram of iron to make this whole thing work properly. But we're getting a lot more than 1 milligram. Even just fruits and vegetables and different meats and things, they have a lot more than 1 milligram of iron. So you can see how it kind of gets overloaded if we have a lot of influx and this iron recycling system isn't working properly. So really, iron is meant to be in constant circulation in this recycling system. Ceruloplasmin, something that's very, very important to make sure that this iron recycling system is working properly. That's an important part of this system. And if it's not working properly, then the whole iron recycling system doesn't work as it needs to. So ceruloplasmin is regulated by copper and vitamin A, because that is sort of like the juice needed to make this whole recycling system work properly. And so when copper or vitamin A levels aren't there as much as we need them, they're inadequate, ceruloplasmin will be low and impact this system. And this typically leads to more iron being stored in the tissues because it can't be in that recycling system properly. And so that iron being stored in tissues can lead to things like inflammation, high estrogen symptoms, and it can really make healing, and I would say wellness in general, difficult. And so that's something that I want you to grasp, as far as sometimes we look at the lab numbers that are very superficial and say, oh, we need more iron, but we don't really look down beneath and kind of dig further down to see what is actually causing our iron not to work properly. Because as you can see, we only need 1 extra milligram of iron. So it's not that we need more iron, it's that we need our iron to be in motion and avoid this overload of stagnant iron. Because believe me, don't we want to decrease inflammation? Don't we want to balance our hormones? Don't we want to have great digestive health? I think those are some of the things that we've heard a lot about. And obviously we feel symptoms from those things being impacted. But are we missing what's causing those things to constantly be out of balance? Inflammation, estrogen, gut dysbiosis, like all those things are very real for a lot of the population, but yet this could be and oftentimes is a huge part of that picture. So I wanted you to see, and hopefully you understand more now how iron stays in motion, why we need it to stay in motion. We need more red blood cells, right? We need that system to work in our body. And if it doesn't, things start to trickle and get out of balance. And over time, it can really, really cause disease to set in. It can cause just these chronic issues that we can't ever seem to get on the other side of, right? We're doing all the things. Do you feel like you're doing all the things? And sometimes it's hard to keep up but we're not really seeing the results. This is probably a missing piece to that puzzle. So I have just loved digging into this in this video, and I've also loved digging into it with my current clients that I have. It has uncovered some huge discoveries, and from that information, we can then work on an individualized plan to get them back on track. And so that's what I love to do in my basic option, to evaluate where your foundation is at a basic level. I look at mineral balances that really play a part in this whole iron recycling system. And so if that sounds like something that you would like to do, I would love for you to go check out more information on that on my website. And I'm going to put it down below in the description of this video. And you can kind of see, is this something that you'd like to work with me with? Because it's a journey, and I love to walk on the journey with the clients that the Lord brings me. I'm so, so thankful for that, because this is a journey, and having someone to walk alongside you is it's a game changer. And so I hope you've learned a little bit in this video. I love just deep diving into certain aspects of this journey with you. If there's a topic that you would love to see featured in one of these videos, just let me know. Just email me below, or you can look me up on Instagram and send me a DM over there. There's lots of different ways that we can get in touch. All of that also is in the description of this video, and I will see you on the next one.